First of all, it's the first Pokemon game where if all your Pokemon faint, you don't like black out and go to the Pokemon Center. First of all, there are no Pokemon Centers. You like camp or whatever. Anyway, if all your Pokemon faint, you just don't have Pokemon, and you're just like,
Blacking out is wild, by the way.
Yeah.
Can we talk about how insane it is for a kid to black out?
Oh yeah, a child of 10 blacking out in the woods.
I'll
blacking
never
out is
forget.
crazy.
I'll never forget. I was probably around 10 or 11 one time I blacked out. I got in trouble. I don't remember what I got in trouble for, but my dad was like yelling at me, and he's just like yelling at me, and I'm standing there, and I legit blacked out. Like I just fell out, and I remember waking up like on my back, and like my stepmom waking me up and making sure I was okay. And my dad worried about me, like, oh, like you okay? Get blah blah blah. And like after they were sure everything was okay, and I was like back, my dad was like, "Have you been doing drugs? Are you drinking?" Immediately after I blacked out, he was like, "So why the fuck did you black out?" And I was like, "Dog, I don't know. maybe because you were yelling at me for 5 hours. I don't know." But anyway, you don't black out in Arceus unless you can take damage. It's something that's sick about it. The Pokemon out in the overworld will just attack you. Like
I saw Snorlax body a whole team.
Yeah, like you can get. Oh, that's the other thing.
Out there, you scrapping with wild animals.
Dog, the alpha Pokemon are strong as fuck. Like, very often do I have my Pokemon getting fainted. Like more often than any other game. I'm not gonna say the game's hard because that's not really the game's mission to be hard.
It's not trying to be difficult.
It is hard in other ways. Like I've had my Pokemon faint. And I've had my resources get taxed in a way that hasn't really happened in any other Pokemon game in a really long time. And you just kind of like have to deal with shit because you'll be out trying to like explore and hunt or whatever, and your Pokemon will start fainting, and you'll run out of revives, and you'll just get taxed on resources. You'll be out of Pokemon. When you're out of Pokemon, you can't defend yourself, and they'll just attack you. If you get attacked enough times, you black out, like your actual trainer. But yeah, it's really interesting. The game has...
Is Pokemon fast? Like, can they chase you and shit?
Some of them are. Some of them aren't. But then, like, some of them are fucking tricky. Like, one of them shot this lightning ball at me, and, like, the lightning ball arcs up in the air. I'm like, alright, whatever. Like, I'm looking at the arc, and I'm like, I'm just moving back a little bit. I'm like, alright, that's not going to hit me. And then it just kind of changed and started homing. I was like, what the fuck is that?
Oh, shit.
It just, like... Instead of arc, like, it was following an arc, and then it was like, whoop, and it just started, like, homing toward me. I was like, wait a second. When I attack, my Pokemon moves don't do that.
Right.
So, yeah, and then, some of them will run, like, some of them are crazy fast. Some of them are just kind of slow or do whatever, but, yeah.
I only saw a Snorlax do a Hyper Beam on a Squirtle, and I was like, okay.
Yeah. The Snorlax will Hyper Beam you. Okay, like
oh shit.
Yeah, like the Snorlax will Hyper Beam you if you know what I mean. You fuck around and find out. And it's cool because they're really strong too. Like you can run into that Snorlax in the beginning of the game when your Pokemon are like level 6, and that Snorlax is like level 45.
Seeing like a Snorlax, an Alpha Snorlax in Arceus really is kind of like, for the first time, was a very humbling experience because it really made you realize, like way back when you had to use the Pokeflute to wake up the Snorlax, and you realize how your life was actually just on the line. Because like Snorlax could have woken up and just eaten you. Like in real life, if Pokemon existed, Snorlax would eat children.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And not even know that it did it.
And like, imagine you just see like a Snorlax out in the wild. What do you think is like? You know what that Pokemon does? Like you know what the Pokedex entry says about
What the fuck is a Snorlax?
I think it's supposed to be I want to guess like a bear. I don't fucking know.
Yeah, it's hungry. That's what it is.
Something else. The game. Now I don't know if this is a real mechanic or if it's coincidence, but I was up on like a coast fighting like these Shellos for like a mission that I had. And so I killed like a bunch of Shellos, which is like this water.
Here we go, fighting the fucking crabs with the club.
So I'm fighting them, but then, and I saw no Gastrodon, which is the evolution of Shellos. No Gastrodon. I'm fighting a bunch of them, and then at some point, a Gastrodon just spawns. And I was like, oh, that's cool. Like maybe it's a rare spawn. But then all of a sudden on the beach was like 4 or 5 Gastrodon. And I was like, what the fuck? And I was wondering if the fact that I killed so many Shellos, it caused the Gastrodon to start coming out. Like it caused the evolutions to start spawning or some shit.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. It was really interesting.
what would be even more interesting is if, like, as you're killing the Shellos, they just start evolving into the
In front of me?
Gashouts.
Oh my god, that'd be so
Just
crazy.
imagine how terrifying that is. You're like, all right, I'm gonna kill all these Weedles, and then they're just Beedrills coming after you. And you're like, wait, I was kidding.
It's
I
fucked
was
up.
just joking.
That's how it goes too.
On
Ash almost died in the first episode.
on that note, though, like, you know, it looks like Pokemon Scarlet and Violet is taking a lot from Legends Arceus, which is what I would hope the next generation of Pokemon would do, and really expanding upon it. Like, Pokemon Scarlet and Violet look to be a fully open world game that'll have the cities and the badges. So it's a traditional Pokemon game, but it's fully open world. You can explore it and shit. And I don't know
So
if they
no
do
other
it
Pokemon
right.
game has been fully open world like that. Like the previous Sword and Shield weren't like that.
Sword and Shield is terrible.
Okay, all right. You
Sword,
said that multiple times now on this podcast. So
Sword and Shield it is so jank. So it's got like the normal areas, like the normal routes. Everything's just like a hallway. Like you have like your hallway routes that will hallway into a city, and then like you're in like a little city, and then you can like hallway into a route, and then hallway into a cave, and then even the caves are just hallways. Like I remember in Red and Blue, going in Mount Moon as an adult. Mount Moon's not too complicated, but especially as a kid or just your first time, I've played Red and Blue 30,000 times, so maybe I just played it 30,000 times. But Mount Moon is an open area. You go into that cave and it's open. You can go left, right, up, down. You can go wherever you want. There's multiple ladders to go in different spots in Mount Moon. The first like cave in Sword and Shield is literally just a hallway. Like you just hallway through it and then you're at the other end of the cave. Like there's not exploring the cave. It doesn't open up. The routes are all hallways. It doesn't feel like even technically in Red and Blue, the routes were hallways, but they felt like you could go in different directions and
well, I'll
look
say
for
this:
secrets.
I posted a meme last night. It said, "I went through the rock tunnel on Pokemon without Flash when I was 7. We are not the same."
Yo, for real, that's
Yeah,
it.
I
Like
saw that.
Rock Tunnel is in a hall. Like that is a confusing,
Yeah,
little area, especially if
you
you don't
can
have
get.
Flash and the game
I
doesn't
would say
just
you
give you
can get
Flash.
lost for real.
Yeah, I've gone through Rock Tunnel. I mean, many people have done this. You go in Rock Tunnel, you just kind of get lost. You think you're making progress. You go through a thing. You're like, holy shit, I found the exit. And then, like, you're at the beginning of Rock Tunnel. And you're
Yep.
like, oh, okay.
And you fall. Also, don't forget the 100 Zubats that you've killed
Yeah.
throughout this entire thing.
But in Sword and Shield, it's all hallways. And then the open world, in air quotes, the open world part is a fucking golf course. Like, it's this little area that's the designated open world area that you can run around in. And the Pokemon are, like, open world spawn. But it feels like a golf course. It's like, here's like a little area, a designated area, and it's like, here, it's a cool little golf course.
Okay,
This
so
is the
it's not-
sand, this is this, like, you'll be in a grassy area, and you'll take 2 steps forward, and you're in a desert. And it's like, okay. Like, it's fucking stupid.
Yeah, there's no transition or anything. That's kind of
Yeah, and the weather will transition on a dime. You'll be standing in, like, a spot, because there'll be random weather. You'll be standing in a spot, and, like, it's clear skies. Then you take 4 steps to the right, and like the game has like, an invisible line somewhere that says this is a different area. And then all of a sudden, 4 steps to the right, it's snowing. And like the snow wasn't there 3 seconds ago. You couldn't see the snow, but then you walked 4 steps and it's snowing. And then you walk 4 steps backwards and the snow's gone. It's really janky.
Kind of reminds me of the end of Bravely Default 2, where you go into like that one area where it's all of the different areas throughout the game.
Yeah, but that felt like it was designed to be that.
No, it was designed to be that. That's why it didn't feel janky to us. It wasn't them trying to say, "Hey, look at this open world cool shit." It was like, no, we intended it to be every elemental area that you've been through in one big area.
But this game
is truly open world. Okay.
Looks like it's a real open world game. It's not gonna have those problems because Pokemon Legends Arceus is an open world game with a small asterisk in that it's kind of like Monster Hunter, where it's open world in that you go into, you pick the volcano map and you explore this pretty huge fucking area. But there's like a main hub and you pick which huge area you want to explore.
Yeah. So that's not open world completely. It's like you said, you load into an area at the end of the day.
Yeah, you load into an area, and then once you load it in, it feels fully like an open world game.
Yeah.
Blah blah blah. But you do pick an area to load into.
Yeah, you can't walk from the volcano map to the beach map or
No,
whatever.
you can't. You can't.
Yeah.
Exactly.
In that sense, I hope that this game is very like Breath of the Wild, and not that Breath of the Wild is the only game that does this, because it isn't. But there's like a very particular way you have to design an open world game in order to make that work properly. Because like when you boot up Breath of the Wild, they specifically put you in the middle of the map, facing like these very interesting, visually interesting looking things,
Yeah.
so that you just naturally want to go toward them. Like in the middle of the world is like, okay, so before all that, you see the dueling peaks, and then past that you see Death Mountain, and you're like, oh shit, there's a volcano there. Imagine you know nothing about Zelda, and you're like, there's a fucking volcano, and there's something crawling on that volcano. What? But like you're like, I want to go to there, and you can. You don't have to load in anything. You can just walk there, in a sense.
Yeah.
And then always in the center of the world, no matter where you go, you always see Hyrule Castle, just reminding you that that is where the end of the game is. Great design. Like I like heard in school once that there's like a specific way that architects like they think about buildings, like when they place a building in a city, they think about how it visually looks from all angles, like from street angle or like top down or whatever, because there has to be like a certain quality to the visual of how you're seeing this building, because you see a building and you're like, oh, that's a pretty building, and you just instinctually want to walk toward it because it's a pretty building. In the same way that it's like that. And Elden Ring also does that, because like there is this giant tree in the middle of, well, toward the top of the map called the Air Tree, and you kind of just want to go there. You can't, but you're just kind of drawn towards going toward it. Or you like see a cathedral on like a cliff far off, and you're like, I want to go there.
Yeah.
And that's why I said like I haven't enjoyed a game this much since Breath of the Wild, because like I have that same feeling where like I see something and I'm like, I want to go there.
Yeah, and the game does a good
to
job of beating you into going to the places.
Yeah, I was supposed to go to this cave last night. I never made it. It's marked on my map. I never made it to the cave.
That's amazing, though.
That's the best part about a good open world game, is when you're playing the game and you're like, holy shit, I want to go there. And then in the process of going there, you spend the next 7 hours not getting there, because you just get sidetracked by all these other things that you end up.
That's what's happening to me in God of War. Like the God of War PS4 game, I've gotten sidetracked on my boat so many times. Like, I want to go here. I know I set out to go here. I'm in my boat with my son, and then I see some other shit.
Yep.
And next thing I know, I'm on an island with a ghost who's telling me, like, some fucking dead guy who's like, yo, if you go around and collect these things, I'm gonna help you out. I know you want some help. And I'm like, God damn it, I do want some help though.
So I hope that Violet and Scarlet do that, and it's not like a hub thing. I hope that it's like, from the city you see something and you can just go there.
Yeah, so when I played RCSM, this is what I really hope Scarlet.
Hey guys, if you like this clip, we have full video versions of our podcast episodes available on the IMNerd Patreon, as well as exclusive content.
If you'd like to listen to our full podcast episodes or find us on any other social media platforms, you can do so by clicking the link tree below.